welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really fantastic collection of source material from you today. Articles, notes, some real gems. And looking through it, wow, it's quite a mix. We're talking practical strategies for, learning English, but also looking at how people actually talk day to day. And there's even a fun little trip down memory lane. I'm pretty excited about what we're going to unpack here.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great set of sources. You get these concrete tips, but then you also see the language really working in different situations. It's a perfect chance to look at, well, how you can maybe change your whole approach to learning and also see native speakers just talking, handling everyday stuff. It's useful and kind of fascinating.
Totally. So our mission today basically is to dive into these sources you sent us and pull out the most useful bits, the most interesting nuggets. We're going to focus on getting you thinking in English, looking at the rhythm of real conversation, and touching on some of those fun cultural things in the material too. Sound good? Ready to jump in?
Definitely. Let's get started.
All right, so let's tackle this big challenge the material brings up straight away. That thing almost every language learner faces, right? How do you stop translating constantly in your head?
Yes, that internal translation thing, like this extra step that just slows everything down. You hear English, think in your language, translate back. It's exhausting. And the sources really nail this as a key barrier to sounding natural and speaking faster. But thankfully, they also give us some really practical ways to start, tackling it.
Okay, so how do we do it? Tip number 1 from the material sounds almost too simple. Identify objects around you in English.
Yeah, it seems basic, right? But the thinking behind it is actually pretty profound. It's about creating a direct link. You see the thing like this lamp here and you think lamp directly. You try really hard to skip the step where you think of the word in your own language first. It's like consciously rewiring that connection. Cite straight to English word.
So like right now I'm looking at my water bottle and I just think bottle? Not the one in my language, then bottle.
Exactly that. You could try it right now wherever you happen to be listening. Look around. Desk, chair, window, phone. Just naming things directly in English.
Yeah.
It's a small exercise, but doing it often really helps build those connections.
Feels doable. Something you could sneak in anytime. Okay, so tip number 2. Repeat phrases you hear from native speakers.
Right. This shifts things from just listening to actually producing the language. The sources really emphasize this. You got to make the sounds yourself. So you hear a phrase in a movie or maybe a podcast or someone said something cool in a conversation. You repeat it. It helps with pronunciation, sure, but also rhythm, intonation. And you start to internalize how words naturally clump together.
And it says it's okay to do it quietly to yourself if you feel weird doing it out loud.
Absolutely. The key is the physical act of saying it, getting your mouth used to forming those English sounds. Okay, this next one, tip 3, feels a bit bigger. Create situations where you can't use your native language.
Ah, okay. Like immersion, basically.
That's the idea, yeah. And the material acknowledges, moving to another country, not always practical. So the suggestion is more about creating like mini immersion zones. Could you set aside an hour, maybe an afternoon, where you just commit only English, no fallback?
And wasn't there a story in there about someone who made friends who only spoke English?
Yes, exactly. That's a perfect example. They had to use English if they wanted to hang out, to build that connection. And the cool thing that happens then is you immediately find out what words you actually need. The vocabulary gaps become super obvious because you need that word right now. It makes the learning feel really urgent and relevant.
Necessity driving the learning. Makes sense. Okay, tip 4 uses something lots of people do watching TV and movies, but with a specific twist.
Yeah, the material suggests a kind of 2-stage approach here. First, try watching without any subtitles in your own language. Just listen. Focus on the sounds, the context, body language. It's harder, but it really pushes your listening skills.
Okay, tough love first, and then the second part.
Then, try watching with subtitles, but, and this is the key part, subtitles in English, closed captions.
Ah, so you're seeing and hearing it at the same time.
Precisely. As the source explains, that combination is really powerful. You hear the word, you see it spelled out, it can suddenly click, especially for words that get kind of mushed together when people speak fast. It connects the sound to the written form.
Reinforces both sides.
Got it. Okay, tip 5 feels a bit controversial. Don't bring a dictionary to your conversation practice.
Huh. Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive. But the point the material makes is strong. Think about it. If you're chatting and you stop every minute to look up a word, what happens?
Kills the conversation dead.
Totally. It breaks the flow completely. And it's just not how real conversations work, right? You can't pause life to look things up all the time.
So what's the alternative then? When you hit a word you don't know, The material suggests practicing the skill of talking around the word. In English, obviously. Try describing it. Oh, what's that thing you use for? Or, what's the word for when you feel really, Or just ask your conversation partner, how do you say, or what do you call that? And the source points out, when someone teaches you the word right there, in the moment, in context, it sticks way better than just looking up a definition.
Right, you learn the word and a strategy for dealing with not knowing words. Smart. Okay, tip 6. Train responses to common questions. Get quick.
Think about the super common ones. How are you? You hear it constantly. The idea here is to have a few automatic, ready-to-go answers. I'm good, thanks, you. Pretty well, how about you? Doing okay?
Yeah.
Just practice a couple until they roll off the tongue without even thinking.
So you avoid that deer in headlights moment. Keeps things moving. Good one. Tip 7. Study using materials that don't have translations.
Yeah, this connects back to avoiding that translation crutch. The source highlights that while sometimes resources in your native language can help, it's really beneficial to use materials, books, websites, videos, where the explanations or definitions are also in English, even if it's simplified English. It forces your brain to stay in English mode, figuring out English, using English.
Keeps you immersed. And yeah, the source mentioned picking the right difficulty level is crucial there, so you're not just totally swamped. Okay, tip 8. Study phrases, not just lonely vocabulary words.
Oh, this is huge for understanding how words actually work. The material uses crazy as an example, remember. The word itself has a meaning, but think about crazy about someone, or that noise is driving me crazy, or that's a crazy idea. The meaning shifts depending on the phrase, so looking at words and context in the phrases they live in, that's how you really get the nuance, the actual usage.
Yeah, phrases give you the flavor, not just the definition. Okay, tip 9 is about weaving English into your day. Do daily activities in English, mentally at least.
This kind of combines tip 1 with, like, your whole life. The idea is to narrate your routine to yourself, in your head, in English, making coffee, commuting, folding laundry, whatever you're doing. Think about the steps in English. Okay, now I'm pouring the water. It sounds a bit odd, maybe, but it's amazing for finding vocabulary gaps related to your specific life. What's the word for that kitchen gadget you use every day? You'll find out.
You uncover your own personal must-know words. And the last one, tip 10, use a learner's dictionary.
Right, related to tip 7 again. The source specifically mentions things like the Merriam-Webster Learner's Dictionary. The key difference is that these dictionaries define English words using simpler English. So when you have to look something up, you're still reading and processing English, not jumping back to your native language for the definition. It keeps you in the zone.
So, wow, these 10 tips together, they really form a kind of toolkit, don't they, for shifting away from translating and towards actually thinking in English.
They really do. They're all tools to help rewire that process. And the source is clear. It takes time, it takes practice. But using even a few of these consistently can start to make a real difference.
That's a really solid set of strategies. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The material you shared also had tons of examples of, well, real-world English, how people actually talk. Because knowing how to think in English is great, but you also need to see it and practice it in action, right?
Exactly. You need the what as well as the how. And the sources gave us some great little snapshots, like just the different ways to say hello. It's not always just hello.
Right. You've got your standard hello or hi, which work pretty much any time. Then the slightly more formal, time-based ones, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And then the more casual ones, the material listed, like long time no see, great for bumping into someone. How have you been? Asking about that period you haven't seen them. And the everyday ones, like how are you? How's it going? Or even more informal, what's up? For friends.
And the point is, knowing which one to use depends on, who you're talking to, the situation. It's about that social awareness. The sources also had that list of common complaints.
Ah, yes, the things we all love to moan about, like, I'm starving, or, oh, that's too expensive, or, I'm always broke, my job is so boring, ugh, the traffic, my boss drives me nuts.
Yeah. They might seem negative, but the reason they're in the material is because it is super common everyday small talk. It's how people express minor frustrations or connect over shared annoyances. Things like, it's too noisy here, or it's freezing, or I'm so tired. Even, oh, I think I gained weight, or complaining about slow Wi-Fi or low pay, or just, I don't like it. Knowing these helps you tune into casual chats.
Totally. And the material got even more practical, didn't it? Looking at stuff like asking for direction.
Oh yeah, essential. The source laid out those key phrases. Where is the, ooh, how do I get to, and then the actual direction. Turn left, turn right, go straight. Plus location, words like next to, between. You just need that stuff.
Yeah. And it even had sample dialogues, I think, for checking into a hotel or ordering food.
It did, because those situations follow pretty predictable scripts, you know? Practicing those specific back and forths means you're less likely to freeze up when you're actually standing at the reception desk or trying to order lunch. You kind of know what's coming.
Okay, now the material took a fun detour into the 90s.
Yeah, that was a cool section. It was using nostalgia and pop culture as examples of conversational topics, basically, showing how shared cultural knowledge can be a way to connect. So it listed things like boy bands, remember Doug the cartoon, sitcoms, and it even explained sitcoms coming from situation comedy, Lisa Frank stuff, all those super bright folders and pencils, grunge fashion, Nirvana, flannel shirts, scrunchies, and the games, Game Boy, the original Nintendo, and that thing everyone did, blowing on the cartridges. Yes, the Magic Fix, and Pogs. Remember Pogs, little cardboard discs? The source mentioned kids playing Pogs in gym class sometimes. And the point was, these little details blowing on a cartridge, remembering a specific cartoon they create, shared experience. They're easy things to talk about, especially if you find someone who remembers the same stuff. It shows language being used for bonding and sharing memories.
It's that human connection piece again, using shared culture. And speaking of connecting, the material circled back with some solid advice on just keeping conversations going, didn't it?
It did. It hammered home the idea of asking questions, but good questions, not just ones that get a yes or no. The source suggested open-ended ones, like, did you see that thing about when? Or
Yeah.
what did you think of? Stuff that invites a longer answer.
And that simple trick, return the question. Someone asks about your weekend, you answer, then you ask about theirs. Shows you're interested. And using genuine compliments was mentioned too to build warmth.
Yeah, they're like the oil in the conversational engine, right? Keep things smooth. But maybe the most significant tip the source offered, and sometimes the scariest, was to open up a bit.
Share something about yourself, you mean?
Exactly. You know, within reason, whatever feels comfortable. But the source explained that when you shared a little thought or a feeling or a small experience, it kind of gives the other person permission to do the same. It helps move things beyond just surface level chat. It can deepen the connection, make the interaction feel more, well, real, as the source put it.
Yeah, that definitely shifts it from just talking at each other to actually connecting with each other.
Precisely. Using language to share who you are,
That's
basically.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today, all thanks to the amazing material you sent in. It's incredible how much was packed in there.
It really was a rich set of sources. We dug into those strategies for thinking in English, getting past the translation habit. We looked at tons of examples of everyday language greetings, complaints, directions, practical situations, touched on cultural stuff like the 90s references as conversation starters, and finished up with ways to actually make conversations flow better and feel more connected.
And it's worth saying again, all that came directly from the material you provided.
Yep, your sources gave us a fantastic overview of the learning process and the language in action.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Thinking about all these different strategies for training your brain and all these examples of real English, what's maybe one small thing you could try this week? Could you spend 5 minutes just naming objects around you in English? Or maybe practice those "how are you" responses until they feel automatic. Or the next time you don't know a word in the conversation, try describing it instead of reaching for your phone. Just pick one thing that kind of clicked for you from everything we talked about and give it a shot. Just push yourself a tiny bit further away from relying on translation.
Yeah, start small, but definitely start somewhere. Put something into practice.
Thank you so much for letting us deep dive into your sources today. We really hope this helps you keep moving forward on your English journey.